The Western Bloc, they're desperate, and gold, of course, is going to be a really important part of the new BRICS system, because they know that gold is the monetary asset par excellence. It's been for thousands of years. The only reason the dollar has been trusted for so many decades is because it used to be as good as gold until 1971. But what I think the BRICS are going to do, they're not going to have one currency control everything like the dollar did. It's going to be more representative of all the countries, and gold is going to be like a neutral asset.
Russia has made a bold proposal for BRICS member countries to establish their precious metal exchange. This move could disrupt the long-standing international pricing mechanisms for gold, silver, platinum, and other precious metals. MarioInnecco, a seasoned financial analyst and commentator, notes that BRICS nations are working toward a model in which gold serves as a neutral reserve asset, allowing each member country to link its currency to gold rather than depending solely on the US dollar, as was the practice under the Bretton Woods system. In recent years, BRICS members and central banks worldwide have accumulated gold at near-record levels. This trend is coupled with a significant repatriation of gold as countries seek to store their precious metals within their borders. As nations secure their dollar assets with gold, the metal's role as a benchmark and hedge becomes increasingly essential. The shift away from dollar-denominated pricing has led to substantial outflows from the dollar into gold, positioning it as a critical asset for central banks and commodity trading advisors. The proportion of gold in total foreign exchange reserves has risen notably, climbing from 8.15% at the end of March 2024 to approximately 9.32% by September 2024. Earlier this year, the Reserve Bank of India repatriated 100 tons of gold from the Bank of England, marking a significant step in India's gold policy following the 1991 gold pledging. On October 31st, the RBI brought back an additional 102 tons, further reinforcing the trend of gold repatriation. Innecco emphasizes that gold, trusted as a stable asset for millennia, once underpinned the value of the US dollar. However, concerns over its stability have intensified since the dollar's decoupling from gold in 1971. The proposed BRICS initiative to position gold as a neutral reserve asset aims to reduce reliance on the dollar and offers member countries a more stable alternative for their currencies. This evolving landscape signals a potential shift in global financial dynamics, with gold again taking center stage as a vital monetary asset. Make sure to tune in for our expert analysis. Don't miss out on future content. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications to stay in the loop. Your support is greatly appreciated.
The Anglo-American central banking globalist bloc versus the BRICS bloc, who are developing their own currency, who want to de-dollarize, who have just stolen technology from the Western Bloc. And I think the Western Bloc, they're desperate. And gold, of course, is going to be a really important part of the new BRICS system, because they know that gold is the monetary asset par excellence. The only reason the dollar has been trusted for so many decades is because it used to be as good as gold until 1971. But what I think the BRICS are going to do, they're not going to have one currency control everything like the dollar did. It's going to be more representative of all the countries, and gold is going to be like a neutral asset that all countries will be able to hold, and all countries will be able maybe to fix their currencies against it, because under the Bretton Woods system, the dollar dominated everything. It was the dollar, only the dollar, that was fixed to gold, and the other currencies were subservient to the US dollar. Anyway, it's 8:40 a.m. London time, so let's quickly have a look at where the markets are this morning. We've got spot gold at $27.37. It's only up about $1. It has been as high as 45 and as low as 29, so fairly quiet. Spot silver is up 26 cents, so it's picking up a little bit. It's up 0.8%, 32.70. High's been 87, low's been 25. De-dollarization and the BRICS expansion is for real, and that the globalists, and who are the globalists? Well, they're the people who control the Western central banks. They're the people that created the BIS in 1930. And we're going to quickly look at the BIS's constituent charter to see who really controls, the world for now. And I think it's really important for the gold and silver market as well, because it means that, and I think the paper game is going to be in trouble for gold and silver, because BRICS and BRICS Plus, they're going to go for the jugular, because they understand how important gold and even silver is for the system. We've seen that the Russian finance ministry is announced recently that they're going to start buying a lot of silver, platinum, and palladium.
On Thursday, the Bank for International Settlements announced that it would withdraw from Project mBridge. This cross-border payments initiative has raised questions about its future amid increasing geopolitical scrutiny over global financial transfers. Launched in 2021, Project mBridge was a collaboration between the BIS and the central banks of China, Hong Kong, Thailand, and the United Arab Emirates, with the Saudi Arabian Central Bank joining in June. BIS General Manager Agustin Carstens addressed the withdrawal during a discussion about the potential of mBridge to facilitate transactions for BRICS countries, including Russia, amid international sanctions. Carstens rejected this notion, emphasizing that the project was not intended for such purposes. MarioInnecco highlights the historical context of the Bank for International Settlements, noting that the Federal Reserve's absence at its founding was due to the U.S. not joining the League of Nations. This allowed central U.S. banks like J.P. Morgan and Citibank to take on significant roles in the BIS, reflecting the ongoing influence of powerful banking interests. The BIS's exit from Project mBridge raises questions about the initiative's future and its impact on global payment systems as nations navigate complex geopolitical challenges.
Back to the BIS and mBridge, and the BRICS payment system and the globalists. It's all really getting interesting, because there's always a doubt, because we knew that mBridge was like a BIS project, and that I think it was China, Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, and a few other countries were working along with the BIS to develop this payment system. And a lot of people said, well, the BIS is a globalist institution, and I agree. So let's just go through here the constituent charter of the BIS from January 20th, 1930. And you can see who's really the power behind the BIS. This has been amended, of course, over the years, but it shows the original owners, who really controls the BIS. Whereas the power signatory to the Hague Agreement of January 1930 have adopted a plan which contemplates the founding by the central banks of Belgium, France, Germany, Great Britain, Italy, and Japan, and by a financial institution of the United States of America, of an international bank to be called Bank for International Settlements. And all these European central banks at the time, they were privately owned. They might have been made public, but the control is still there from the bankers behind the scenes. And whereas the said central banks and a banking group, including Messrs. J.P. Morgan and Company of New York, the First National Bank of New York, the First National Bank of Chicago, have undertaken to found the said bank and have guaranteed or arranged for the guarantee of the subscription of its authorized capital amounting to 500 million Swiss francs, equal to 145,161,290.32 grams of fine gold, divided into 200,000 shares. They've amended that, of course. Now they look at the ownership in terms of special drawing rights, SDRs. But gold, of course, is the most important monetary asset, and the BIS knows it. and it was founded with gold, of course. But what you can see here, the reason the Fed was not involved is because the United States did not join the League of Nations. So technically, the Federal Reserve couldn't join up with foreign central banks. So what they did is they had J.P. Morgan and Citibank, which is probably part of what the First National Bank of New York became now, and others. They got involved. So it's the bankers that control the BIS, and the BIS, of course.
The proposal from Russia for BRICS nations to create a precious metals exchange marks a significant pivot in the global financial landscape, potentially undermining traditional pricing structures reliant on the US dollar. As countries increasingly view gold as a stable reserve asset and repatriate their gold holdings, this shift could redefine monetary systems and enhance financial sovereignty among member states. The recent growth in the share of gold within foreign exchange reserves further emphasizes its emerging role as a hedge against dollar volatility. In light of geopolitical tensions and the withdrawal of key players from collaborative financial projects, the future of international trade and currency stability may heavily depend on how effectively these nations can implement a gold-backed model. How might establishing a BRICS precious metal exchange influence global trade relationships and the dominance of the US dollar? Share your perspective in the comment section. If the video resonates with you, join our community by subscribing to our channel and enabling notifications with the bell icon. Thank you for being a part of our community.